Late game day at that. That's this late game day thing sucks. I ain't even gonna hold you. Um, but Bulls Clippers going down tonight. Can the Chicago Bulls keep up the winning momentum in Los Angeles? We're gonna talk about it, break it down, have some fun. But first, you guys know what we got to do. Got to play that intro.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central. Man, listen, I hope that the Bulls take care of business. The Bulls face another depleted team today. Marcus Morris is out. Brandon Boston is out. Kawhi Leonard is probable. I don't know if that's been updated. Paul George is out. Norman Powell's out. Listen, the Clippers are coming in dinged up pretty badly. The Bulls need to be able to take advantage of this like they did last night and just play well, play solidly, right? You got to execute on both sides of the ball. You got to give that energy, that intensity on the defensive end, limit the turnovers, of course, and then feed the hot hand. Let players play, right? Billy Donovan's been doing a better job. I still won't say that it's great, but a much better job at when players are playing good, riding the hot hand. Let them get in, stay in rhythm, seeing how long you can ride that momentum out. Still some issues with pulling players out at certain times, but, it is what it is. No coach is going to be perfect, and Billy Donovan damn sure isn't. But, the energy that, that we need from this team has been there and has been evident for the most part of the majority of the last game. So let's keep riding that out. The Bulls got tests. We face the Clippers tonight, then we get a couple of days off before we face the Lakers again. And the Bulls are just going to have to be locked in, man. They're closing the gap. Looking like a team that definitely can move potentially into that eighth spot at some point. But they just got to keep playing it. You got to keep executing. You're right now 2 games below 500. Every time the Bulls have gotten close to 500, shit's gone left. So let's hope that it doesn't do that this time. Let's hope that this team is locked in. They're playing much better. And if they are, it is what it is at that point. So, yeah, we just want to see this team be able to execute, man. We want to see this team be able to play well. Zach LaVine's going to have to lead the way again. DeMar, how much does he play? Is he how bad is that injury really hurting him? How bad is it going to impact him? Those are the kind of questions going into this game. But overall, I'm feeling pretty confident about the Bulls. I feel confident about their ability to at least play with heart. That was the biggest issue earlier in the season. Is just you couldn't bet on the Bulls to play with heart. You couldn't bet on that, and that definitely hurt the team. Hurt thinking that they were going to punch above their weight or even beat some of these teams. So at least that's gone away. Patrick Beverley has definitely been a spark plug for this team. And we'll just see if that continues, man. We'll see if that continues. Let's go and get into some of these comments, man. Ilian Dover says, if Kawhi is playing, we need Pat to step up. But we need Pat to step up regardless. And the bench played pretty well in the last game, right? Pat he's just not going to be at the point where he's going to be scoring a lot, but he's doing some of the other things, playing solid defensively, right? Going after the boards a little bit better. We need an aggressive Patrick Williams for sure. That really does separate this team, and it helps it tremendously. But, we'll see what that means. I think either way, if Caruso's available, Caruso's going to start. That's just Billy Donovan's new favorite lineup. But, we'll continue to see how it works out for the team, man. PB and Pat says, this is going to be a huge game for us if we can keep up the momentum. Yeah, realistically, the Bulls right now are, if I'm not mistaken, are half game back of the ninth and eighth spot. So a win today, and then I don't know, do the Raptors play tonight or the Hawks? Let's take a look. I don't think that they do. But with a win tonight, especially if those other teams do not play tonight, the Bulls move they move into it. They close the gap on that. So, and I don't want to keep putting that, that pressure on the team because they're not going to win every game remaining this season. But if they can take care of this business, if they can steadily move up these standings, if they can get close, the Bulls could still technically finish over 500, which would be crazy for the season that we had with this team. Ron says, hi, what's going on, Ron? Glad to have you in the building. Thank you for showing up to the pregame show. Sleepy on the East Coast. That's from Jonathan Aegis. Yeah, I'm in the Eastern time zone too. The fact that this game doesn't tip off until 10:30, which is the time the games are usually over with here, it is what it is, man. But, we love this team. Me, I'm a diehard Bulls fan, so I'm going to be locked in regardless. Ricky says, C-Red, what's going on with you? Ricky, got to have you in the building. Cornelius Smith, what's good, Haize? What's going on, Cornelius? Shay, the one I said all we have to do is just make it hard for Kawhi because Paul George is out. Well, yeah, you got to make the team in general. You have to make the Clippers guard you. You have to make the Clippers stay on their feet defensively, right? You can't have a game in which you just shoot the ball like crap, which has happened to the Bulls a couple of times. Or if you do have a game where you're off shooting, you have to make sure that defensively you are forcing them as well into bad situations, into bad shots. And, we'll see how that ends up working out. But right now, the Clippers are coming into this game. They're going to be missing 2 out of their top 3 scorers in Paul George and Norman Powell. That puts a lot on Kawhi now. They do have Russ there, who's averaging 14 points per game since he's been a Clipper, and we know that he can score more than that. But then you're looking at Russell Westbrook, right? You're looking at Marquise Morris out too. He's one of their leading scorers, even though he's only averaging 11 points per game. So at that point, you're looking at Reggie Jackson, Eric Gordon, Zubac, to do a lot of the heavy lifting there. You're looking at them to do a lot of that. So, and then Paul George is also their leading assist guy. He's leading the team in steals, leading the team in scoring. So that's a big portion of this team that they're going to be missing. And the biggest question is, can the Bulls take advantage of that, right? We need this dub from Jaden Taylor. You already know, bro. We need all the dubs we can get. Russ going to be building retirement homes tonight. That's funny. Shout out to wow. First of all, that's funny that you made that. That's hilarious. Bro, this game starts at 3:30 a.m. for me. We still here, though. Silence you. Man, listen, that's dedication, bro. Like, that's the thing, right? The Bulls have a passionate fan base, and that passion comes out in bad ways sometimes when the team sucks, right? Because you are so passionate, and then when the team sucks and isn't matching that passion, it turns into negativity, man. But I'm not saying you, Jonathan. I'm just talking in general. That's why it's good that the Bulls are playing just better here since the All-Star break. Shay says, if we win tonight, I think we get the 8 spot. Yeah, if we win tonight temporarily, we would move into the 8 spot. And so, and that's why, everybody was saying 30 games in, the season's over with, it's done. It's like, hey, you just never know, right? The way that the Bulls have played since the All-Star break, they've literally moved. I believe at the All-Star break, we were the 11th seed coming out of the All-Star break. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. And the fact that we are now firmly planted in the 10th spot with a nice advantage over the 2 teams below us, we're now only a half a game back from jumping 2 spots into the 8th spot. Like, that would be the way that this season has been, so up and down, so all over the place. That's just crazy if that's how this season ends, right? If we manage to play good enough down the stretch that we finish with the 8 seed. PBN Pat says, Io needs to go work out, will dribble too much, will make it his improvement and game even better. I mean, listen, Io, it's worse than dribbling though with Io. Like, shout out if he goes work will dribble too much, but like it's more than like he's not even giving us defensively what he gave us as a rookie. And then the miss bunnies at the rim, we need that to tighten up. But the sophomore slumps are a thing. I think they become less common. But when you're a second round pick, you're a second round pick for a reason. And maybe this sophomore slump is just what it's going to be for Io. Hopefully, this may be a wake up call for him to know how hard he has to train. Not to say he didn't train hard last offseason. I mean, he came into this season adding 8 to 10 pounds of muscle, but hopefully he just works on, he refines his game some, and he comes back in, and he's back being, the terror he was on defensively, back playing better in transition. You just never know, man. I'm not completely down on Io and his future as a Bull, but he definitely needs to, look, of course, the contract's probably going to be the first concern, and once that contract gets locked in, and he knows that he's going to be re-signed here, focus on doing the things this offseason to improve your game. That's what we need to see from Io. I feel like Billy made everyone only practice threes last week. They've been falling a lot more. I mean, we've been taking a lot more too, right? And that definitely helps with, the Bulls team who in so many games earlier, just a couple months ago, I was saying like the Bulls were just getting beat by simple math, meaning that they did not take enough threes. And there were so many games in which I pointed out in the postgame show, like, hey, even though you didn't hit your threes at a great percentage, if you just would have took more and maintained this percentage, you would have won this game. So, seeing the Bulls take 31 and 43s a couple games ago and things like that, I do think that there is a concerted effort from this team to take more 3-pointers, and we're seeing them be successful at it. Raps play Miami next. Okay, cool on that. But they don't. When is that? Tomorrow? Which is going to be, keep a look out. Like we got it. We're going to have to watch the standings, right? Because like with where the Bulls are right now and how much they can move up, it can go back and forth every single day, right? Depending on who plays, who doesn't play. You look at the Celtics play the Wizards, the Heat and the Raptors play tomorrow. So yeah, that could have big implications for the Bulls. Even the Cavs and the Hawks game have big implications for the Bulls in their playoff standing. So hey, this season, the end is going to be a fun season to watch. It's going to be a fun season just to see how things shake out because everybody's jockeying for position, and in both conferences, there's a nice a mixture there that, you know, teams are just close. They're all right on top of each other. A hot streak, a couple of hot games in a row can completely change the standings in the playoffs, and it's going to make it for an exciting end of the season. Like the next week of the season is going to be interesting for storylines of nothing else. Nothing else. The Bulls are separated by they're 2.5 games back from the 7th seed, technically. They're only a half game behind the 8th and the 9th seed. The 11th and 12th seeds, the Washington Wizards and the Pacers, right now are 4 and 4.5 games back of the Chicago Bulls. That's crazy, right? But then if you look at the Western Conference, for example, the Western Conference, the 5th seed, between the 5th and the 10th seed, it's only 2 games separating those teams. It's this last week of the season for everyone. If your team is in playoff contention, it's going to be exciting for any team that's in playoff contention in either conference. So, you know, we'll see. Is Paul George and Kawhi playing? Paul George is not playing. Kawhi, it was listed as probable. So we'll see what that means. Mead says, excited to see the team do their thing live. Hey, let's hope for a positive outcome. Shout out to the Facebook user who says, yo, what's going on? Don't know your name, but what's going on? What's up, Haize? We staying up late tonight. You already know Chi-Town Javier. We got to stay up late. Kevin Hodge is in the building. Says, what's going on, fam? You drinking? What you drinking? What's in your cup, brother? But now I'm really stuck between Io and Kobe this season. Like the cap officially close for me now. I mean, I think that it doesn't necessarily mean that the Bulls are going to have to decide between the two. So we'll see. We'll see. Hold on. Pat, the designer, texted me or called me. But all right, let's see what else we got. Salute Haize in the chat. We on the same time zone, Haize. Hey, listen, it's late day today. Going for LA, the LA sweep. Didn't we do the LA sweep last year when we went to LA and we beat both the Lakers and the Clippers? I thought that happened. Maybe I'm tripping on that. Pat Bev, Russell Westbrook, brief reunites tonight. Hey, man, listen, both those guys are playing for more. As someone who lives on the West Coast, I do be irritated at these late games only because I typically watch Bulls games right when I get off if the game is happening in the Midwest or East Coast, Mr. X. Hey, I mean, hey, that would be a big difference, right? To be able to watch the game as soon as you get off work and it still have like a nice chunky evening left. We ain't even got that, man. Like this late games here when you're on Eastern time zone, they suck, bro. They suck. Still same rules on the amount of spots for playoff roster. I'm wondering if we have any key pieces who wouldn't make roster. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think where the Bulls sit right now, like everybody who's a key to our rotation is going to be able to be on the playoff roster. I don't foresee us having to leave anybody off who's played meaningful minutes or spot for us. So I think we're good on that. I hope they stay smart and don't take the Clippers lightly because Paul George is out. They better not. The Bulls are not in a position to take any team lightly. I don't give a damn if they were playing a team from the Big Three. You cannot take any team lightly right now if you're the Chicago Bulls. Not with how your season is gone. You have to be engaged and you have to be focused. Yamin Street Sports says, what's up, Haize? Can we get Vooch more involved in the offense? I mean, hey, the person you need to ask that is gum chewing ass Billy Donovan, right? But this is a game that I definitely think that we need to try to establish Vooch earlier, at least to see what Vooch can do against the bigs, Plumlee and Zubac for the Clippers, because if he can get established and have a big night early, it can definitely change some things for the Bulls. Nate GTV says, Zach and DeMar go for 80 tonight with the W. Listen, I don't care if they combine to score 25. If it comes in a W, then that's what it comes with. The W is the biggest thing for me. I don't give a damn about who scores what anymore. Get the win. That's what we need, is the dub. Reggie Jackson doesn't play there anymore. Remember, he got traded. Oh, yeah, he did get traded. You're right on that. Good call out on that one. What's good, Haize? I feel like the Bulls have a good chance of winning. Hawks play the Heat. They are going to lose. We are getting that 8 seed. Hey, man. From your mouth to God's ears, fam. Amin88 says, Haize, what it do, fam? Quick question. Did they find out what's wrong with PG-13's leg? Is he getting surgery? If he is, damn, that sucks for the Clippers. Last that I read is saying that he will be reevaluated in 2 weeks. That was about 5 days ago. So I don't think the surgery's on the table, at least right now, or maybe they're not telling the public that in hopes that he's going to be able to come back for the playoffs. So we'll see. What's going on, Omar? Glad to have you in the building, bro. I was going to say this, and I've said this before. Io has a new body that he's not used to me yet, so I think that's not. Listen, players add muscle all the time. That can't be an excuse. He didn't go get a BBL, bro. He didn't change his body that much. He didn't go get a BBL. So let's chill on that. I honestly think that P. Will benefit a ton from dribble too much. He needs to add to his bag. He gets stripped, stumbles too often when creating. Well, he did. He had training with the same dribbling coach that Kobe had over the course of this season. And Patrick Williams, to me, is a good ball handler. I just think he doesn't do it enough. And then when he is called on to do it, he rushes it, and you can tell, and he presses, and then he ends up making mistakes. So at least that's my interpretation of it. Doesn't mean that he still can't work with him this offseason. Patrick Williams is another one you need to put in and try to improve your game as much as you can every offseason. Cornelia Smith said, a depleted Clippers team, we have to take advantage like we did Portland. 100% feel you on that one, bro. Bulls daily. I just don't care about seeding at ATP. Whoever we meet in the first round is going to be one of the best 3 teams in the NBA. Well, it's not just for that, right? You're looking at seeding not for who you're going to play, because the Bulls don't have the right to pick their opponent, but for the chance to only have to play one playing game. Keep in mind, if they can get to the 8 seed or the 7 seed, which 7 seed is harder to get to, but if they can at least get to the 8 seed, then you only have to play one playing game. And then even if you do lose your first playing game, you then get another chance to win it. If you're the 9th or 10th seed, if you lose one game, you're out. So that's the key of the Bulls getting to the 8th seed. It's not necessarily to say that we're trying to pick who we play in the first round of the playoffs. It's just to put yourself in the best situation where you have to play the least amount of games in the play-in and get yourself the best situation to make it out that play-in tournament. So at least in mind, that's why I pointed out. I don't know why everybody else points it out. Vincent Harris says, we have a chance. I believe we're going to end the season with the 42-40 8 seed. This is my feeling right now. Hey, I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see. Io slump this year could be a blessing in the long run if we can lock him in cheaper. I've said that before, too. Like, it really could be something that we end up looking back on, and his down season being what kept him from getting a huge deal from us. So, hey, you never know. Everything works out the way that it's supposed to. DeMar and Zach and Vucevic need to be on their game. Yeah, we need our big 3 to play like a big 3, period. Do you think the Bulls have a chance, Haize, for tonight's game? Also, Pacers lost tonight. Yes, we absolutely have a chance. The Bulls have a chance against any team, right? And I'm not just saying that because it's sports or because they're my team. The way that the Bulls play defense, the brand of defense that they play, and with Zach LaVine being as efficient as what he is offensively, if the Bulls rebound as a team, limit turnovers, they could play with anybody. So, they definitely have a chance against that Hawk team. Archangel says, oh, man, at least Io isn't missing layups every game like he was for a while. We nicknamed Io the Muffin Man after the 12th consecutive muff lay. That's what. Not you calling Io the Muffin Man. That's deep. Hawks schedule looks super difficult. Yeah, Hawks the Bulls have one of the easier schedules amongst playing teams for the remaining of the season. The Atlanta Hawks have the 3rd toughest schedule in the NBA remaining, whereas the Chicago Bulls have the 19th toughest schedule remaining in the NBA. And keep in mind, that changes after every game. So, but yeah, the Hawks absolutely have a tough schedule. Io should have never been a starter this year. He's not a true point guard, and the starting lineup is no place for a second-round project that started regressing his rookie year. Disagree. he drastically outplayed every other potential point guard that was on the roster at that time in preseason. And that's where Billy Donovan made the decision on who was going to be the point guard. And if you go back to those preseason games, Io outplayed Kobe. He outplayed Caruso. He outplayed Gorn. Anybody else who could have potentially been a starting point guard, Io outplayed them in preseason basketball. He earned that starting spot. Now, he did not earn the right to maintain it, but he absolutely earned that starting spot. It's not like that we needed a bunch of scoring, right, from him. We needed defense, and he gave that in the preseason. It's just when the lights turned on, he started regressing, unfortunately. But Io earned that starting spot with his play in the preseason, and he also earned his benching. So we'll see. The Io and Kobe gap just closed for me this offseason. Will be very interesting. You already said that, brother, but yeah, I feel you on that one. The Bulls usually feast on the teams with the Clippers style of play. This young run and gun that be hurting us. I didn't the Clippers kill us earlier in the season? So, and I think that was without Kawhi, but then again they had Paul George. So, I mean, listen, the Bulls have struggled against every type of play style this season. Every type of play style. It's not just one. Unfortunately, I wish that it was. But the Bulls, at the end of the day, like, the Bulls can play with anybody. And so as long as they play with that heart and determination and they respond to runs well, because Clippers are probably going to go on a run, and how they respond to that is going to be telling for this game. Tay Holland said we did sweep. I thought so. I thought we did last season. Spicy Butter, what's going on? Says, little bro, I feel good about our Bulls. We're definitely heading in the right direction. Definitely agree with you on that one. Josh Lopez with the hot take says, bold prediction, we get the 7th seed. I guess we'll see. Omar says, YouTube bugging. I don't know why they keep recommending me to Inside the Chicago Bulls. Hey, man, don't be afraid to admit that you support that whack-ass content creator. Yo, Haize, I just heard the AC isn't playing tonight. Hope Bulls don't get lazy on defense. With him out, going to need people to contain Lillard. I mean, it's going to have to be a team effort, right? And the thing is that let's keep in mind too, even if Kawhi goes off, if you stop Kawhi isn't beating you by himself. If you can stop everything else around Kawhi, you can still get that dub. So, you definitely want to contain Kawhi. That's absolutely what you want to do. But if you can't, then you got to play solid defense everywhere else on the court. Shay says, I don't know if you care or not, but I got cursed out yesterday by some biased LeBron James fan for me saying continuity is so much better than just trading for good pieces. Hey, man, that's things that trigger basketball fans are funny. You think Drummond would do better overall if he had more consistent 15-plus minutes, or is he just going to have those days where he fouled like crazy and has club feet? I mean, that's just part of the Drummond experience, man. You're going to have those games where Drummond executes well, he plays smart, and then you're going to have those games where you're literally looking at him like, hey, Drummond, do you know you're a center? Like, why did you just try to do a 3-dribble Euro step behind the back bullshit? Like, he just be tripping out there sometimes. He be tripping. I feel you on that, Haize, but I'm going to need him to score more than 17 for my parlay to hit. That's funny. Oh, man. Certification Poppy says, what's good, Haize? Clippers went to shit when they got rid of Mr. October. Reggie kept that team rolling when PG and Kawhi were out. That's a fact. That's an absolute fact. I feel like we can beat any team on our day, but I also feel like we can't beat the top teams over 7 games. And there's a real big difference there. I hope the front office really understands that. Completely agree with you, Big Largs. Like that, and that's why I've been saying, and I know that it's triggered some Bulls fans when I say this, but I really do feel this way, and I'm going to keep saying it. Nothing that the Bulls do this season is going to change what needs to happen this offseason. It's fun, and don't get me wrong, I love to see this team battling. I love to see this team competing. I want to see them go as far as they possibly can just because it's my team. But it does not change how much you need to do work on this roster if you want to be a team that's not fighting for play in position, if you want to be fighting for playoff victories, right? If you want to be playing to win series. So outside of the Bulls going on some like miraculous stretch where they like make it to the second round and they push that second round series to 7 games, nothing is going to change my mind on what this Bulls team needs to do this offseason. And that's we need some considerable changes to the makeup of this roster. Delbert says, I'm downtown smoking at Alana. I'm about to drive back home and watch this game. First of all, that's, hey, do you, bro. Do you. Soldier Field says, Haize, we win this 112-99. Please go live with Auntie after Bull win. We're not going live with Auntie. Now, listen, come on now. I love my aunt. I love Goon. But you already know Goon gonna be cussing out everybody. I love P Kid's analysis of P Will in that he reacts to the last play instead of the play in front of him. He tried something on. If he tried something on one play and it failed, he would try the solution on to the last play. I mean, okay, all right. I know that we have to play them on Wednesday, but don't be surprised if Anthony Davis doesn't play because he really did mess up his hand that bad. I don't give a shit about Anthony Davis playing. Don't give two shits. I don't care if Mr. Glass plays or not, man. I really don't give a shit. Goon, Auntie's in the building, says, do y'all think Bulls will be able to keep Ayo and Kobe? I mean, there's a chance, Auntie. I don't know if it's likely that they keep both, but depending on what they do with this roster, there's definitely a chance. Alana says, wait, we already played the Clippers this season? I forgot. Yeah, we played them at home. I think we end up losing that game by like 5 or something like that. Like the score was closer than what the game felt over the course of the game. But yeah, we played them already. That's when we were struggling. Why do I never realize that my comments have a dirty double entendre until you read it live? I'm so sorry, Haize, Muffin Man. Like, yikes. Hey, listen, it is what it is. Omar says, I heard that Mitchell Robinson isn't happy with the Knicks. I think he'll be a great fit for the Bulls over Drummond. Is Mitchell Robinson willing to come off the bench, though, right? That's the thing. Is he willing to come off the bench? Been saying my Laker fans, sending my Laker fans the pick of Pat Bev saying LeBron too small or the Charmin pick every time they got something to say. That's funny. Never going to live that down. Smoking some Alana is crazy. Goon says, I'm cursing everybody out. Don't do it. Listen, Auntie, I love it because I be listening to Auntie's rants when she calls in and I just be like, I'd be cracking up. Like, because she says stuff that we all feel, and Goon never holds back, and I love it. When I wake up in the morning after a game and I see Auntie called and left a voicemail, I'm like, I always listen to it before I even start recording because I'm like, I need this energy. I need it. Push Forward TV says Westbrook versus Beverly is going to get wild. It's going to be fun to watch. Definitely going to be fun to watch. It's going to be entertaining. Pat Bev is like, just don't be surprised over these, like between last game, this game, and the next game, we just look back at this and be like, hey, this was the Pat Bev trilogy. Ain't funny how Beverly and Westbrook played on the same team for like 2 months, then got traded to different teams. I mean, they didn't get traded. They were both bought, they were both cut and then signed as buyout market. But yeah, man, that's crazy. That's wild. I mean, fuck them. Fuck, I guess they both did get traded too before they got bought out. So you're still right. Spicy Butter says, one more thing. I tweeted Ayo, told him to dunk the ball. They playing him for the layup when he could clearly dunk. Hey, I wouldn't mind seeing Ayo catch a couple posters. Reginald Short says, I think the Bulls can re-sign Javonte for less than $5 million this offseason, but should they? Should they find a bigger, more offensive option in free agency? Listen, I don't know. Signing Javonte for $5 million is, he's 29, first time in unrestricted free agency. I know he's got the injury now, which may help, but you can't bring everyone back, right? And bringing everyone back at this point would be asinine. So, like, somebody isn't coming back, and that player may end up being Javonte, unfortunately, depending on what else they do. It's going to be interesting to see also what Drummond does. If Drummond opts out of that second-year option and goes back to the unrestricted free agent market, what does that leave the Bulls to do there? So it's going to be interesting. I like DJJ and P. Will on the court together. I like the off-ball rim protection possibilities. Listen, if we ever construct this roster better to where DJJ can actually play the 3 and some 4 instead of the 5. Like, I would just love to see what he'll do on weak side defense. That'd be crazy. What do you think the problem is between Luka and Kyrie? Not enough defense. I said it before. Look, go back and look. I think it was like 3 days after that trade was made. I posted a video on NBA Central, and I simply said, the Dallas Mavericks will not win a playoff series. I don't care what type of regular season success. I didn't think it'd be this bad. I'm not even going to front and act like I'm a prophet, and I knew it was going to be this bad. But I looked at that team and said, hey, this team is going to score a lot. But they aren't going to be able to toughen it out and win a playoff series. And the fact that now they're out of the play-in, right now they are the 11th seed out of the play-in is wild, fam. That's just wild. Let's see if the Bulls announce the starting lineup. We're about 30 minutes before game time. Is usually when it drops. Yep, we got our starters announced. Pat Bev, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic, your starters for tonight. Should the Bulls make a run at Jackson Haize this offseason? I mean, I wouldn't hate it. I think you got to make some other moves. Like, that's not like a marquee free agent signing, but I definitely think it could help for sure. No matter what happens, Pat Bev made the end of the season so much more enjoyable. What a fun dude. Oh, for sure. Absolutely, for sure. Shay, after seeing the pairing of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, I'm up this week events that we never should go after Dame Lillard like everybody. It's completely different makeup, completely different roster. What Luka and Kyrie are doing has nothing to do with Dame Lillard. Come on, Shay. This feeling like a DeRozan type game tonight. I mean, it very well could be. This could be a game in which we need those late game heroics for sure. Kyrie should have gone to a good defensive team. The Mavs traded DFS, who was their best defender, and now they have no D. That's exactly what she said, but I agree. Like, they listen, you got to give up something. This is why you always have to give up something that you want or need on your team to get a piece of the size of Kyrie Irving. And it really does. Hey, that sucks for them, man. That really sucks for them. Auntie says, Kyrie and Luke got problems over there in Dallas. Some ain't right over there. 11 seed. Yeah, listen, that's done. Haize, do you see the article explaining how we can get that Portland pick? Yeah, I actually have talked about that before here, even before the article. I had a whole episode on it, on exactly what could happen on them possibly removing the protections on that pick. So, Jello says, before we even signed Pat Bev, did you want Russ Moore? I mean, I talked about the acquisition of Russ Moore because it was just a bigger name. And I'm not going to lie to you. I did not see Pat Bev having this type of effect for the Chicago Bulls. So in my mind, I was thinking more talent than leadership, and I was wrong on that. Like, Pat Bev has been exactly what the Bulls have needed. Brandon L. Jet in the chat. What's going on, Brandon? He says, what up, Haize and chat? Glad to have you in here, Brandon. I'm going to be honest. I thought Luka and Kyrie would make a far playoff run. Yeah, I just wasn't sold on it. Like, I did think they won more regular season games, but I was not sold on their playoff success at all. Like, and people thought I was crazy when I posted that video. People thought I was crazy when I said the Dallas Mavericks will not win a playoff series. Now they may not even make a playoff series, which is crazy. Did you see the post game with Zach? KC said basically, great game, Zach, 33 points. By the way, everyone says you suck on defense. Can you imagine anyone saying that to DeMar? Never. Why is that? DeMar has a higher level of respect around the league than Zach LaVine. That's just is what it is. Is what it is. Haize, there's a decent chance that we could be the 8th seed in 24 hours from hell. There's a chance that the Bulls could be the 8th seed 3 hours from now. We could be the 8th seed by tonight if we win this game, at least tied for it. So, hey, listen, we ain't even got to wait 24 hours. Luka was in a lawsuit with his mom over the trademark of his name. He got a lot more going on. That don't matter. Listen, I understand that. And you got to, like, your lawyers handle that. You got to be able to play basketball. Just like we got to go to work. You got to go to work. Your team's fighting for their playoff lives right now. Oh, my bad. Haven't been on YouTube much the past week. Oh, you're fine, bro. And I did that video. Honestly, it was probably a month ago I did that video, honestly. Honestly, I think there was a month ago that I did that video, which is crazy. Because now people are writing articles about our top. You know what? This is why. Give me my goddamn respect. Now let me pat myself on the back. But like, this is honestly why. And I hope that people appreciate what I do here at Chicago Bulls Central, because like I really do look at things, and it's great that somebody wrote an article in it. And I know there are going to be way more Bulls fans that read that article than will ever watch my videos. But like, we do research over here at Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central, and I researched that heavily on just the protections around that pick, how it could benefit Portland by removing those protections so that pick conveys to the Bulls now, and then they have their picks to be able to trade. The protections around that Portland pick, the GM at that time, that's one of the reasons he got fired. It has completely eliminated the Portland Trail Blazers' chances of trading their own picks because of that protection. So, yeah, there's a lot into that. None Not says, hot take, if Zach had Pat Bev the whole year, he'd be an MVP candidate. That is a hot take, but I can understand where you're coming from with that one, looking at the numbers. Soldier Phil says, Haize, you're the GM this offseason. Who you going after? Fred VanVleet, Jaylen Brown? Oh, I'm calling about Jaylen Brown first, because I think, and I dropped a video on this over on NBA Central today. If the Boston Celtics have any inkling that Jaylen Brown may walk away when he's a free agent, you have to try to trade him this offseason. And that's just business. If they aren't internally 100% confident that Jaylen Brown is going to re-sign with them, you have to move him this offseason so you can get something back, so you can get away from the risk of another team bidding him. And then what you do is that you give that, much like with the Kyrie thing, free agent at the end of this year. But if they trade Jaylen Brown next offseason, what that does is that a team that's interested in him, it gives them their bird rights to re-sign him, go ahead and have them on the roster. But you have to. If you are not 100% confident, I wouldn't even give it 90. If you're not 100% confident Jaylen Brown is going to re-sign with you, you have to entertain moving him at that point. That's just the smarter business option at that point. It sucks. He's a great talent. Of course, even in the trade market, you're probably not going to get something back as good as him, but you have to eliminate and mitigate that risk of losing a player of his caliber for absolutely nothing. You cannot do that. Jack Holland says, man, what are we going to do if Vooch doesn't resign? I feel like that's one thing I forget. He could very well not come back next season, especially with the hit to his game he has taken since being here. Absolutely a possibility of it. If Vooch does not resign here, I think at that point, the player that I have kind of penciled in is Podol. You pivot to Podol, and you hope that you can sign him. Not that he replaces everything Vooch does. He is a better defender. He's going to rebound well as well. He's solid in pick and roll defense and pick and roll offense. You do have to have again, that still highlights the Bulls still need a high level point guard, because I do think he goes better with the point guard. He's not the shooter Vooch is either, but at that point, that's kind of the player that I'd pivot to. And hey, the Bulls got to make a decision too. They got some tough decisions ahead of them. Gavin asks, I thought Luka was suspended. They rescinded his last text so he was able to play. Laquan says, Haize, where do you get your Bulls gear from? Anywhere that I see fire Bulls gear, I cop. But my main places, Lids, I get gear. Fanatics, which I think Lids and Fanatics are actually owned by the same company, so they have a lot of the same gear. Culture Kings, Michelin Ness, ChicagoBulls.com. Those are pretty much the primary places I get my gear from. Do we have tiebreakers over the Raptors or Hawks? And what happens if a series is tied 2-2? Who gets the higher seed? I can't remember the process if it's tied. I think there's like a coin flip or something like that. Do we own tiebreakers over the Hawks for sure? I'm not sure over the Raptors off the top of my head. Haize, we need Vooch to keep his emotions in check tonight. Gonna need him to battle Zubac in the paint and on the boards. I mean, yeah. And let's not act like Vooch is this player that just lets his emotions just get wildly ahead of him all the time. He's not Ron Artest, right? He's not Dylan Brooks. So, like, Vooch is gonna be cool, man. Vooch is gonna be cool. Sydney says, why wouldn't Jaylen Brown want to stay in the Celtics hypothetically? This team is balling. I'm sure he would want he would want to leave. I'm not sure he want to leave. Also, what position is he? Jaylen Brown can play the 2 or the 3. I think he's played both. I think they've even used him as some 4. But Jaylen Brown is he can play multiple positions. But keep in mind, like, it's easy just to say, hey, we're winning. Let's stay together. That hasn't always worked. Look at Kyrie wanted to leave the Cavaliers, right? So it's sometimes with some of these players, it's just about winning a bigger role. Sometimes it may be about personalities clashing with the players that are on the team. It could be a lot of things. But ultimately, I mean, listen, you got to make your best decision. So Marco going to be ready next year. I'll tell you what, Jonathan, if Marco's still on the roster, he needs to have a role on the actual NBA side of the thing. He can't, another G League year ain't going to do nothing for Marco, man. Like, come on, fam. The big man market in the unrestricted free agency is slim this year. We damn near will have to trade to replace Vooch to any effect that keeps us at the skill level where I disagree. Poto's still out there. He's one. I don't know the big man market off the top of my head, but I don't think we necessarily would have to trade. But hey, you never know. You're not gonna, and that's the thing. You're not going to replace what Vooch gives you. There's nobody who's gonna replace what Vooch gives you. It's just not happening. It's not happening. Rue says, I think we play a good game. We're in good groove and doing a better job trusting each other. So I think we pull this one out. Hey, from your mouth to God's ears, bro. From your mouth to God's ears. Bro, that's what makes this ejection even more frustrating. Vooch doesn't get ejected. That's how you know it was some bullshit. That's all I hope is DJJ comes back. He's been huge for us, but Billy got to use him more in the rotation. I mean, the thing about DJJ is I'm so glad that he's been able to just go no matter what, when his number's called, no matter what role Billy Donovan asked him to play. Derrick Jones Jr. has been ready for us. He goes and he finds a way to contribute. So I really do enjoy and appreciate it. Eads Instrument says, what up, Haize? Glad to see you, man. Glad to see you too, brother. Glad to have you in the building. I mean, maybe Jalen feels like Boston is peak, or maybe he wants a chance to get more respect since he gets overshadowed by Tatum a lot. That's a great point, the greatest. He may want to go to the team where he can be the de facto best player and bet on himself. So Haize, after what happened with the Vooch ejection last game, do you think Marco will be activated on the roster in the next couple of weeks? Or does Billy still not know who Marco is? I still doubt that Billy knows who Marco Simonovic is. But hey, I do think there is something to be said that we could realistically, he should realistically be on the roster at this point in the season. Because in a case like this, where Vooch fouls out or Vooch goes or Drummond fouls out, right? Marco's really the only other true big man you have on this roster that can still rebound. Like, yes, he has his problems defensively, but he can rebound and he can score. But even if you don't want to use him for scoring because you don't trust him, he's going to rebound the ball for you. So I would love to have him out there just as a depth piece in that case. Poto, Haize, Drummond, and Mo Wagner is pretty much it for centers in free agency. It's not a bad market. And again, nobody's going to replace exactly what Vooch gives you, but hey. Omar says, yo, Haize, we got to remember to sign Kevin Hart as our starting point guard. What you mean? He's the starting. Kevin Hart is the replacement for Nikola Vucevic, if you ask Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan will absolutely play Kevin Hart at the starting center for the Chicago Bulls. Starting point guard. What you mean? What you mean? Nah, man. He's the starting 5. Sup, peeps? Sorry I'm late. I had to catch up on my Mandalorian episodes. This season of Mandalorian, man, it's been good. But it's been a little up and downy than I'm used to the Mandalorian, man. Hey, Haize, do you think Vooch will want to stay next year, hypothetically speaking? Will his role even be big with other teams? Shouldn't he take that into consideration? I'm sure he's going to take everything into consideration, but I do think that there are absolutely teams that you can go to and have a much bigger role than what he is for the Bulls. And it's not even necessarily the bigger role, but maybe play a style that's more conducive. Vooch has had to change his game the most out of any of these players that are in the big 3. So that's something that I also look out for. What do you think Dalen Terry's ceiling is? It's hard, man. It's hard to say that with a player that hasn't even played like a lot of meaningful NBA minutes. I mean, his ceiling's still whatever it was when he was drafted because he hasn't got to show you enough to think that his ceiling's come down. I do think that immediately Dalen Terry's just going to be a player that impacts winning. Like whether it be assists that day, whether it be steals, whether it be rebounds, whether it be scoring, whether it be a mix of both. Dalen's going to be one of those players I think initially when he's getting that consistent role is going to be a lot of 7, 6, 5, and 4 nights, right? Where it's not necessarily a huge number in any one stat, but it's enough over a bunch of stats where you look at it and say, hey, that dude definitely impacted this game. With Alex Caruso being out for tonight, how do you think Billy Donovan is going to adjust for the matchup? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what they do defensively because again, we don't even know if Kawhi's playing or not. Have they announced for sure if Kawhi's playing? Let's check out Clippers Twitter and see what the Clippers have tweeted out. Kawhi Leonard is playing. He's been announced as the starter. So the starters for the Clippers are Russ, Eric Gordon, Kawhi, Nicholas Batum, and Zubac. That's hey, listen, the Bulls better take advantage of that. They better take advantage of that, man. I want to see them come in and get a dub. Has anyone in the NBA ever in history ever been ejected for walking away while mumbling in Serbian? I'm sure it's probably happened to some place before. That's funny. But all right, y'all, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the pregame show. We got about 13 minutes until game time. Going to rest my voice. I've been talking a lot lately, and it's late. But I appreciate you guys so much, man. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Hit the like button if you have not hit the like button. We'll be back right here for the halftime hangout and post-game shows all live, man. I love you guys. Thank you for supporting. Make sure you follow the show at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related because of you guys. And for right now, not for good for the night, though, we're ending the show. I'll see you guys at halftime. Peace, y'all.